So in the first video in this series on wellness and burnout, we first need to know what wellness is. And in order to define wellness, we need to know what happiness is, right? And this is where, unfortunately, many people get it wrong. They are chasing the wrong thing. They can never seek and attain true happiness because they are going down the wrong road. So in my own personal journey through wellness, my own trek to attain true happiness, I've come across a lot of different resources that I found very useful, and I'm going to be highlighting about one of these in each of the videos here that I found very useful. And so the first author I want to highlight is Arthur Brooks. He's a PhD, a social scientist. He's at Harvard. He's had a very interesting own personal journey through life where he started out in one profession and went on quite a circuitous route and own personal transcendental journey in a way to find his own happiness. And then he writes about it and lectures about it. And he's written a great book, which I really appreciate. So in his book, he talks about the 3 different building blocks to attain happiness. Happiness itself is not a single feeling, but happiness and its feelings are associated with 3 tangible phenomena in our lives that we can actually understand and manage in order to get to happiness. These are the 3 macronutrients, so to speak, like protein, carbohydrates, and fats that make up our happiness. And just like nutrition, we need these in the right balance and in abundance in order to become truly happy. And these are enjoyment, satisfaction, and deep meaning. And they may sound a little bit generic, but once you dive in, you can find out just how much detail there is in each one of these and how misguided we often are in trying to obtain these 3 tenets that make up happiness. So happiness itself is not a single feeling. It can be somewhat elusive and hard to understand. Some of us who are in burnout in the medical field actually don't know what makes them happy. They might think they know, but they aren't actually happy. These are the, unfortunately, grumpy, angry, cranky physicians that just plow along through their workday, and they are not truly happy. These physicians are unaware of their happiness drivers. What they think makes them happy actually drives them down further into that so-called vicious spiral. So let's explore the first one a little more. Enjoyment, right? What is enjoyment? It's our pleasures, right? Our simple pleasures in life, things like comfort foods, alcohol, and the like. These are the little pleasures in life that by themselves don't result in happiness. They're fleeting and transient. They are not enduring. But the way to turn pleasure into happiness is by mixing it with 2 other requirements: people and memory, right? So enjoyment equals pleasure plus higher consciousness. So I like to turn, I'm a numbers guy, so I tend to turn an equation into math a lot, but that's what enjoyment is. So our pleasures are associated with dopamine, and dopamine is that little neurotransmitter in the brain that gets released when we do activities that bring us pleasure. This is, for example, good food. Well, not good for you food, if you know what I mean, like those sugar hits when you just crave that middle of the night carbo snack. This is hitting the gas pedal in the car and just flying down the road. For example, winning the lottery, or maybe you're playing cards and your hand wins. These are just small dopamine hits that are not associated with enjoyment. Dopamine does not create enjoyment and thus happiness. It is just this transient, fleeting mini high. And this is why drug users keep going back, adrenaline junkies. They're trying to get and chase that first high. Endless pulls on the dopamine lever, so to speak, do not give us happiness. It is just short pleasures that is not enduring no matter how much you do it. And this is where gambling and addiction come into play. And the companies that unfortunately are associated with this, they are feeding on your dopamine. They know where this is going, so they create advertisements and an environment that wants to keep getting you to, well, pay that money in the slot machine, for example, and just keep getting those brief dopamine hits. So our pleasures actually come from the limbic system. This is ancient, hardwired in all animals, and humans have it too. This is the diencephalon area for my medical students and the like out there. This is not evolved. This is deep in the center of our brain, just above the brainstem and below the cerebrum, right? This is not the cerebral telencephalon or telencephalon. This is not our frontal cortex. This is very, very deep, basic emotions. Right? The limbic system is our basal emotions, fear, anger, pleasure. But if you move pleasure from the diencephalon and into the telencephalon, into the frontal cortex, then you can get true, enduring enjoyment. And this results in experiences that give you memories, right, with the people that you love. This is why Thanksgiving is so much more enjoyable and satisfying, doing things that give you pleasure, yes, with people that you love, creating memories that are lasting, right? You eat the same Thanksgiving dinner with turkey and potatoes and cranberry sauce and whatever you have. Imagine doing that alone in a dark room in your house on a random weekday night, all by yourself and quiet. It's the same food, but then do it in an environment where there is people and there's memories being built and it's just a warm and welcoming environment. Man, that food tastes so much better because you're bringing it into the higher consciousness. Arthur Brooks also gives the example of a beer commercial, right? For example, you don't see a commercial when someone just cracks open the beer sitting all by themselves in a dark room alone. No, they're on the beach, they're with friends, it's a sunny day, a warm breeze, right? Doing it with people and building memory. That's where pleasure can actually create true enjoyment. So you don't want to just content yourself with pleasure, you want to look for the enjoyment, and that's how to marry the two together. And once you realize this in terms of pleasures don't create enjoyment, but mixing it with people and memory do, then you start to align your activities, right? This is no more drinking alone at night, no more online poker at 2 a.m. all by yourself. These are things that drive gambling and addiction, our pleasures, our vices. Doing it with friends, building memory, then you get lasting enjoyment. And it's the same thing in medicine. If you're just going to work, but you're not spending time with your fellow faculty in your division or in your medical school or wherever you are in your journey in healthcare, well, then you're not going to get enjoyment out of work. If you do something fun and pleasurable with your fellow faculty or students or staff in an activity that creates memories, then you are much happier. And unfortunately, what often happens in healthcare, especially post-COVID, is a lot of faculty are leaving. They're just trying out one job, quickly leaving, jumping to another job, just hoping to find happiness. The key to faculty retention may be partly this, enjoyment. Hiring someone, this happened to us during COVID. Everyone was alone and, so to speak, siloed, just doing Zoom calls and remote. No one was getting together. There's no interaction, there's no happiness, right? No people and no building of memories. Everyone is just Zooming. And some faculty say, yeah, well, I hate my coworkers. I don't like my staff. I don't like my nurse, doctor, medical assistant, physical therapist, what have you. And well, yes, that might be true, but it also might be that you haven't taken the time to get to know them and you might share some common interest. And then suddenly, both of you can have a conversation about food or going fishing or whatever your pleasures are. Suddenly you've built a bond and then you can create memory. So I encourage you to look at your pleasure activities, whatever activities give you those simple pleasures, those dopamine hits, and turn those or transform those into activities that can give you enjoyment. Do it with people and do it building memories. So for me, I personally enjoy gardening. I used to do it alone, but now I involve my children and I show them the process of it, and it actually gives me more enjoyment. There is something to be said about doing things in solitude that is completely different from being alone and being lonely. But when you're really seeking enjoyment and building those memories, you've got to do it with people. So another example is I like to go for a bike ride. I like to go for long walks. Now I try to ride with friends, or heck, I take my dog for a walk. That counts. Dog is a member of the family, and it does build those lasting memories. Good for my doggie too. Not in this video right now, but she'll make an appearance probably. Another activity that I love to do but don't have much time to do it is cooking. And actually, a subset of cooking, it's more baking. And that is very easy. It is baked right in there, to use that pun. It's usually done with family or for family or friends. You are cooking or baking for someone. You can share your creation that you made with someone. It is very fun. And in the next video, we are going to delve into the world of satisfaction, and in the third part, deep meaning. I hope you join me for those videos.